Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. Today we're going to be taking a look at a roll and write game in which you are designing a game which is a roll and write game in Roll and Write, the dice game. This game is all about rolling dice, drawing in colored dots on your player board, erasing those colored dots to take special actions, and not erasing the colored dots in order to build patterns, which are on cards and are going to score you some victory points. That's the long and short of it, kind of. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at how this works. We'll come on back after that. I'll tell you what I think of it. So here's what the game looks like set up. Each player is going to have one of these sheets, and you can play either on this side, which has a 6x6 grid, or on the larger side with a 7x7. Everything else is the same. You've got the dice, the markers that everyone is going to share, and then, of course, the card set up. 3 random awards down here, and then everyone is also given one of these cards, which is going to give you victory points for specific dots being connected. In this case, it says for each connected set of green and purple, I'm going to get 1 victory point there. This is secret, so I would keep that. And then every player draws 3 cards from the green deck, 3 cards from the blue deck, and you keep 1 from each. So I would look at them both, and I might say, okay, I'm keeping that one, discard the other 2, and I'm keeping that one, discard the other 2. Everybody's done that, and then you are ready to begin the game. So I'm holding these 3 at the beginning. Everybody else has the same thing. So let's say I'm the start player for the game. I'm going to roll all these dice. And then I'm going to group them by color. So 2 yellow, 2 orange, 1 green, 1 red. If you roll more than 3 of the same color, say I roll 4 yellow, then I make a group of 3. It can be at most a group of 3 yellow. And then there is another group of 1 yellow. Once I've done this, I'm going to select a group as the start player. And I'm going to color that into some of these bits, as they are called. So here's what I'm holding right now. And I need these patterns in order to score the cards. So I'm going to select orange, and I'll remove it from the pool, and I'm going to color in a couple of dots there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to color in this one, orange, and I'm going to color in this one, orange. Once that's done, everybody, including the start player, is going to select one of these and color that in. And they do not remove it from the availability. So let's say an opponent over there, I'm playing a game with 5, which is the maximum. A couple of players want to do yellow. They'll have to pass this around. And I'm going to take that green myself. And I'll put the green, if I can open this, I'll put the green right there. And somebody else wants the red. They'll take this, do that. Once that's done, then we all get to take an action. And the action bank is right over here. So you can erase a colored bit and do the associated action. So for example, I get rid of a red one. I erase that out. I get to copy another bit and connect it to the one I copied it from. I erase an orange one. I get to move another bit. Say like erase that orange, erase that green, and move that green somewhere else. If I get rid of a yellow, I get to change where that yellow was to another color. If I erase a green, I get to draw 3 of these and keep 1. Blue, draw 3 of these and keep 1. Purple, draw 1 of these and either place the dots listed on it or keep it for victory points. Now these over here you've seen. It's a pattern, and they'll give you 5 victory points when you complete it. When you do complete it, you just get to reveal this. The blue ones are also a pattern. You only get 3 victory points, but the blue ones have a special ability that once you've completed it, you get to trigger that as your action instead of any of these actions, if you so choose. And then the purple ones, you flip one over. It's either going to have some bits, some colored dots, you can put those in there, or it's going to have maybe 1 dot, or you keep it for 2 victory points, or sometimes 2 dots, and you keep it, or you keep it for 1 victory point. So you can choose between the 2 choices, assuming there are 2 choices. This one doesn't have any. There's also one in there that I believe is just 3 victory points. No other choice. Looks like that. Now when you just keep. All right. So there is that, and then once that's done, we take all the dice again, pass it to the next player who rolls the dice, takes a group out of the groupings here. It just takes their own. And then everybody gets to use one of these sets left over on the table. This continues until either some of the cards have gone, like some of the decks have run out, or somebody has filled up their grid to almost completion. I think a couple of empty spaces or 3 empty spaces will trigger the end of the game. Then we play another round after that. And then once that's done, we are going to score. There's also this, by the way, down here is if you complete that column or that one, you are going to put in a colored dot there of whatever color you want. It doesn't really matter. And then you get a bonus of that of 1 dot somewhere, 1 bit. Same thing for the bottom and top lines there, and for the diagonals. So each one you only get 1 time for those 3. And then at the end of the game, like I said, you're going to score victory points. So the yellow card you have, where's my yellow card? There it is. For every green next to a purple, connected to a purple, I'm going to get a point. And you can only count each bit once when you're doing this. Then the green cards, the victory points on them. The blue cards, the purple cards you kept. If your grid or bit box, I think they call it, is completely filled, you get 6 points. Then these 3 goals, which is going to be first player, whoever has the most gets 6 points, second place gets 4 points, and then you add all that up. Now these say sets of all 6 colors in the bid box. Okay, so you have to count whichever one you have the fewest of. This one is completed patterns still in the bid box at the end, which is an absolute nightmare because you have to check that all of these you finished are still in there. And these, by the way, while they cannot be mirrored, they can be rotated. So the pattern might be like that in your bit box. And then this is for the largest cluster of connected blue bits, which you just figure out where you have and see who's got the most. So there you go. There are more of these. So it's 3 random at the beginning of the game. Though they largely repeat. There's 1 for each color. There's, they sort of, you see the same stuff over and over. So there you go. That's basically it. A lot of drawing the dots, coloring them in, and then getting rid of them to do some special ability. Draw more cards, get whatever you need to get your patterns built. I'll show you a couple more of these so you see kind of what you're looking for there. And that is the game, folks. Again, don't forget, these could be rotated if you so choose in your pattern. And that is, that's that. You got 7x7 if you really want to go crazy. All right, let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. Okay, Roll & Write, the dice game. I'm a big fan of Chris Handy, the designer of this game. I think he's a very sharp game designer. I like his stuff a lot. I think he's done some really interesting things. This, in my opinion, is not one of them. I really disliked this game. I thought it was tired. I thought it was annoying. I thought it was fiddly. I found very little redeeming in this box. And I'm going to try not to just sort of be negative for the sake of it. I'm sure there's someone out there who might very much enjoy this kind of game, and this game specifically. But I was certainly not that person. So, let's start with the positive here. The aesthetics in the game are very nice. The game is well constructed. The component quality is good. And I like the illustrations as well. That's sort of, neither here nor there. That's up to you to decide entirely. I don't need to tell you what I think of the artwork. The components were good. And then I thought the ease of play was, I'll say the ease of play was not as bad as the rest of the stuff in here. To me, and this is what I wrote down in my notes here, I wrote headache in a box. But I think the game does give you a nice player aid right on your player board. I think it's not necessarily a difficult game to internalize, to comprehend. So, not a big thumbs down. Everything else I disliked. The thematic ties, it attempts to be tongue-in-cheek, but just comes across as trite. The whole game about making a game thing, it doesn't work for me. I thought it was a lame inside joke. The replayability, I did not like. I think it's largely the same every time, and you definitely want to avoid playing with more players because you are passing that same colored set of markers around. It's just so annoying to play. It's very annoying to play. The game length, it is too long for what it is. This game is very simple. It's not even that long, but I think it's too long for what it is. It outstays its welcome. I was definitely ready for it to be over before it was. And then lastly, the tactics and strategy and luck. Everything feels the same. It's all the same. Just some pattern hidden among other dots where there's another pattern. That one goal where that forces you to check on your patterns again. I had a game of it where we just didn't even do it. We're like, forget this. I'm not checking my entire board. I'm not doing it. It's super annoying. So yeah, I don't like it. I think this is one of the worst roll and write games, so stupid, that I've ever played. I think it's one of the more fiddly ones. Putting on the dots, erasing the dots, all of that stuff's just annoying. It gets in its own way because of the concepts at play. And I understand what the designer was going for here. Unfortunately, this is very close to a previous game of his in the Pack-O-Games line, which I definitely recommend the line as a whole, okay? These are tiny little games that come in about the size of a pack of gum, hence the name. And there's some really clever ideas in there with these tiny, skinny cards of just 30 cards in each one of these packs. One of them is called Box. And it is sort of a bunch of colored dots. You're trying to arrange and make boxes of these colored dots. It is one of the most annoying, visually repugnant games in that series. This is that, longer and more fiddly. So, not for me. I am going to give this a 3 out of 10. And it really gets a 3 out of 10 instead of a 2 out of 10. Because this is not the kind of thing I like. I don't like these colored dot pattern type things. So I'm giving it the extra point for that reason. I could see somebody, though I haven't come across them, who would enjoy that sort of looking for a pattern that you can rotate and, oh, look, I can make it right here. There you go. But for me, just a big pass. It's disappointing because like I said, I like the designer. I like the usual things that he does, but this one is late to the party and forgot to bring anything with it. So there you go. Roll and write, the dice game. I'm Z Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.